Good morning. Very, very good to see you. It is actually noon. I'm usually a minute or so earlier. But please do, on the comments, say hello and say where you are coming from. And just so lovely to... Oh, you're buffering. Are we buffering? Is that me? Or is that you, I wonder? I hope it's... I've told all the family to get off their devices, so hopefully we won't be buffering too much. Anyway, it is what it is. Welcome. It is noon. Time for another Midday Moment Live, and thank you so much for gathering. I'm going to start this morning by lighting a candle. A friend of mine texted to say that one of her friends had died, dear friends had died during this coronavirus, and it's been really hard because they haven't been able to go to a funeral. And she said a few friends had lit a candle in sympathy with her, and that was something. It's not a gathering, but it is something. So just to remember her, and to remember another friend of mine who texted this morning to say that his father has died. And to remember all of the, the ungathered suffering that exists throughout our own Lent community at the moment. So I'd like to light that candle for the ungathered suffering, whether that is on the really big scale or whether that's just the small frustrations, the irks, the difficulties of day-to-day life. And perhaps today you might like to light a candle too. A parish notice before we probably kick into gear this morning about soulful steps from the Passion to Pentecost, which I promised I'd mention today. Just a few little things about this new email series that I'm going to do. Really, I'm thinking of it as a Lent 2020 Part 2. I don't want to do it just simply to fill the space. I've got three very specific reasons that I do want to do it. The first is to keep us collectively and spiritually awake to what is happening at the moment. Obviously, things are really significant. It's big times, and so to stay spiritually tuned in to the times that we are in. The second purpose is to stay together within it all. I hope that you found that actually the collective sense of journey and of encouragement and inspiration is significant, has been significant. So let's stay together through it. The third is simply to walk with hope, step by step, towards another sort of short-term goal, which in the liturgical calendar, 40 days from Easter, is, of course, Pentecost. So really, to take it day by day together is what I'd love us to do. And I hope that makes sense. Three simple aims, really. We will start on April the 27th, which gives me a full 2 weeks rest, which is what I feel I need to kind of just come back brighter and recharged. I will still be doing the Midday Moments Live on Fridays, which will keep some of this sense of connectedness together. And I'm sure I'll do other bits and pieces live as well as uploading one or two extra bits of YouTube content. You need to do nothing more. I hope this is okay. I haven't sort of announced this yet, but what I'm going to suggest to save me and you a whole load of admin is that we simply keep the Lent email list going, and other people are welcome to add to it. So if you want to continue, you need to do nothing more than stay with us, and the emails will begin again. If you feel as though I've had enough, I don't want to keep going after Easter, then I'll just make it really easy for you to unsubscribe. But hopefully you'll stay with us. And if you're wondering, I will make it easy for you to chip in a donation for the forthcoming series, if that's what you're able to do and would like to do. So let me know any thoughts about that, but I'll be sending out an email either today or else tomorrow. And I really hope that you will be pleased to join me and for us to continue purposefully. Okay, so one thing that I've really appreciated about doing these Midday Moments Live is just touching base in terms of appreciation and gratitude. And so over the next couple of minutes, if you'd like to just pop up something on the comments, if you're able to see or write comments just about something that you are grateful for. I'm minded of the Polish psychologist who I often talk about at times like this, Andrew Biankowski, who wrote a lovely book called One Life to Give, in which he explains how as a young boy, he and his family were exiled from Poland after the Second World War to Siberia, and they lost everything. And he says that he kept his mental, emotional, and spiritual health really by developing a short saying that he kept saying to himself to give thanks for what he did have. And that was just a really simple set of things. I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. He went on to become an eminent psychologist, and he really believes that the gratitude within the difficult times stood him in incredible stead for the rest of his life. So for a moment now, I'm going to repeat those words over, and I'd love you to really hold up what you are grateful for as we say those words. And perhaps you'd like to say them reflectively just a few times over with me now, as in the group we offer our thanks to God. I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. And once more, I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. Thank you for, I can see some lovely things going up there. Some of you have said the moon. I was able to sit outside on my patio last night. It was such a still evening and just watch the moon rise. And it was absolutely mesmerizing. I know some of you weren't able to see it because of cloud, but I was watching it on behalf of us all, and it was an incredibly moving moment. So that's kind of what I'm giving thanks for this morning. I'm reminded of the astronaut James Irwin, who walked on the moon and who had he saw the beauty of the earth from the moon. One of those people who had that wonderful view, the overview effect. He said it looked like a Christmas ornament, a very fragile Christmas ornament hanging there in space. Now, when he walked on the moon, he wasn't particularly a Christian, but he was in trouble kind of with an experiment when he was on there, and he prayed a heartfelt prayer. And he said he began to sense Jesus' presence with him, as though he could just turn around and see him there on the moon with him. And that's an amazing thought, isn't it, to think that, God's presence is with us wherever we are and wherever we go. But James Irwin concluded and actually spent the rest of his life, traveling around with one simple message, which was, it matters far more that God walked the earth than that humanity walked upon the moon. It matters far more that God walked the earth in Jesus. And that is a lovely, lovely message to remember and receive back today, isn't it? I wrote a reflection a couple of years back on the idea of Jesus walking that I'd love to share with you now, if I may. Just to follow on really from that idea of it matters more that God walked the earth. It seems really as though it's no time at all since we were back in Advent and we were reflecting on the incarnation and God taking baby steps, learning to walk with those tiny baby feet. Those feet would take him, of course, out into the desert when he was 30 years old. Burnt, calloused, I expect, as he walked and sat in the heat and dust and prayed and learnt to be in communion with God. The Bible tells us that Jesus was hungry at the end of that time, which is one of the biggest understatements ever, isn't it? And I wonder what we are hungry for as we come to the end of Lent. But then with his time over, Jesus walked back and into 3 years of ministry, which were to change the world. The feet that carried him through would in their time walk beside the lost and lonely, take him into the houses of tax collectors and sinners, rulers and outcasts. Those feet would walk upon water, carry him into places of solitude, stillness, silence. And they bore him just before the feast of Passover to Jerusalem under that same Paschal moon that we were looking at last night. What courage it must have taken when his disciples warned him it would be too dangerous. He knew what he was in for, yet he set his face like flint. And on the way he stopped at friends in Bethany where Lazarus lived. Yes, Lazarus lived. What a first fruit and encouragement surely to this dead man walking, that his friend had risen. And Mary, the sister of Martha, who had sat for so long at those feet of Jesus to listen, to learn, Mary anoints his feet with perfume fit for a king and fit for a funeral. The gracious outpouring of love that cannot be put into words, but can only be truly described, expressed somehow in a fragrance that floods the room with love and honor and beauty and proximity and preparation. Anointed feet that would then walk with a passion through the coming week, turning the tables in the temple and turning the tables on history. Carrying him then to the upper room high where he washes feet himself, an act again of courageous, outrageous service and surely preparation for the followers in that room who would in time carry good news themselves to the corners of the earth. How lovely on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news. He would be knocked down, slapped, lashed, spat upon, and yet he would rise. He would rise to his feet to carry his cross, my cross, your cross, along that Via Dolorosa, that way of sorrow and suffering, stumbling, staggering under the weight of it all, bearing the unbearable to the place of the skull, where those loveliest of feet would finally find their rest upon splintering shattering wood. Let's pause just for a few moments. Breathe in and breathe out. Give thanks that those feet carried Jesus all the way to us. Shall we say the Lord's Prayer together? Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Did e'er such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown? We begin, don't we now, to really focus in on the miracle, the beauty, the pain, the wonder of Easter. I have life, I have breath, I have shelter, I am here. Thank you for being here with me, with us together. Go well, stay well. I'll be back tomorrow with a reflection in the morning and with a midday moment live. Peace be with you. See you tomorrow.